wicket now. Is there anything to suggest you won't go in with an unchanged 11 for tomorrow?
Probably not at this stage. I think we'll sit down and have a chat about it as a selection group after training. Got some guys are still finishing up training now, but yeah, it looks like a pretty similar wicket to what we expected it to be.
Aaron, you played a lot against the West Indies over the years, but is this the first time there's almost an edge, in one-day cricket that is, an edge to this contest? Like, people are talking about execution beats execution, and there's so much talk about an Australia-West Indies game.
They're a very dangerous side, and I think that whichever team comes out and executes it from the start of the game, I think it's important that you start really well in whether you bat or bowl first. Them first 10 over periods are going to be really crucial, because we know how damaging the West Indies can be during that period. But also, equally, I think if we get off to a good start, then we can start to try and get into our work a bit. I think if we're tentative and if we're a bit standoffish and wait for things to happen, that's when they can dominate you from the start. So it's important that you turn up with the right attitude and the right intent in them first 10 overs, bat or ball.
Aaron, you obviously, this pitch is so well known as the world record pitch, and it's all about the runs scored here. A, when you look at it today, does it look like it's so batter friendly? And B, do you have to change things at all as a captain or keep things in mind at all, I guess, knowing how run friendly it can be?
It's probably a little bit drier than I expected it to be, the wicket. Obviously, I can't imagine they would have put a huge amount of water into it over the last couple of days with there being so much weather around. So, no, I'm not surprised how it looks, but I think you have to understand that in conditions like this, you're going to go for boundaries. So the key to bowling, I think, is to make sure that they're hitting your best ball. I think that if you're executing your best ball over and over and they're playing good shots in our percentages, then you have to wear that. We know how fast the outfields are here in England. We know how flat wickets can be at times. So you have to be prepared to suck up some pressure and soak up a few boundaries here and there, as long as we're getting hit in our areas. And we often talk about now good execution versus poor execution, and that's all it is. Did they hit a good ball for 4? Yes. So don't worry about that. If it's poor execution or a poor plan on my behalf, then that's something to reassess at the end of the game.
Hi Aaron, just wondered how much discussions there have been about what happened last year at Tregbridge, and what is it? What have you
None.
Not at all.
None whatsoever. I think just before we turned up to the game, to the training yesterday, a few boys talked about their previous experiences here, which obviously haven't been overly pleasant, but we're in the home change rooms, which is a first for everyone, which is nice.
Aaron, obviously West Indies did a lot of damage against Pakistan with the short ball. I was just wondering, have you prepared for that?
Yeah, we have prepared for it. It's something we played them in a warm-up game down at Southampton on the nursery ground there, and they bowled very similar. Obviously, I had a lot of success with it last game and got off to a really good start, so I expect that they will come with a similar type plan. But the follow-up from bouncers and short bowling is the key. I think at the end of the day, I think if you just stick to one plan, then teams get on top of you pretty quick, or they adjust quick enough. So I think it's important your follow-up deliveries, and that goes for us as well. If you do go with a short plan, keep them on the hook, keep them guessing with good bowling. I think if you over attack and continue to go too short, or you continue to go too full, whatever it might be, it's about your follow ups from them balls. But we're well and truly prepared, no doubt.
Aaron, what do you think when you look at that very, very short boundary from the perspective of having to defend it or being out there able to attack it?
Yeah, it's going to play a big part, no doubt. I think when teams have got left and right hand combinations, they've always got somebody able to target that boundary. So that's something that will be taken into account, no doubt, throughout the game. And as a bowling unit, it's about defending the big side. We saw the other game, England-Pakistan, there's a lot of twos out to that long side, so I think it's about using that running game and not neglect that at all, because if you're just one pace focused, you're just boundaries or six focused, you miss out on a lot of scoring opportunities. So I think we can use our speed between the wickets to that long side and try and put some pressure on, and on the other side build some pressure by cutting off them twos and really restricting easy runs out there.
Just a quick follow-up, on your first time in the home dressing room,
Yep.
Anything different about it that you've noticed?
Like all dressing rooms and all county cricket that guys have played, they're a bit bigger. They're a little bit bit more spacious than the away rooms. I think it's a tactic.
Aaron, hi. Pat and Nathan have been quite vocal about Australia's plans to bowl to Chris. He's been scoring runs. What is your take on that?
Well, each bowler will have individual plans. I think that when you come up against someone as dangerous as Chris, you have to be prepared, like I said before, that he's going to hit boundaries. So it's about trying to attack his weaknesses early and making sure that we're putting the ball in the areas that we want to be bowling. And I think if you second guess yourself, if you're a bit tentative, if you're a bit nervous with the ball in hand, he'll get all over you. And once he's going, he's so hard to stop. So I think it's important that you come prepared to take the contest to him, because he definitely does that the other way.
Aaron, just one away from the game, the ICC is sort of debating whether to introduce concussion subs. We obviously have that in the Shield and county cricket here. Do you think the time's come to have that in international cricket?
I haven't thought too much about it, but I know that it has worked in Australia in domestic cricket. I think it gives the medical officers and the coaching staff, or whoever makes that final, or the doctor, the person who makes that final decision, easier knowing that somebody can come in and replace. The last thing you want is people getting hit, obviously, but if there is, but you also don't want the game to be determined by someone getting hit then being out of the game. If that happens in the first over, that's a huge disadvantage. So potentially something to look at, no doubt. I think that in Australia, playing for Victoria, we've had a few instances where it's happened, 1 or 2 to Will Pukovski being hit by a bouncer, and someone else has come in, and we had a situation where Dan Christian came in as a batter, but we chose not to bowl him because Will obviously didn't bowl. So it was one of those things that we thought was fair and reasonable to not take advantage of the rule and bring an all-rounder in when that was the only option we had at the time. So if everyone plays ball, I think it's a good decision. It's all about the safety of the player, and at the end of the day, a game of cricket isn't as important as someone's health.
Aaron, just on Chris Gayle, his record against Australia isn't great. I think he averages 26 in one-day cricket, never scored a century against Australia. Any reason why that might be, and if so, what do you take from that into tomorrow?
Oh, I think the West Indies aren't a side that we tend to play year in, year out. Those stats would be over a really long period of time. So it's hard to put a definite reason why, because you might play 2 games here, and with some injuries that Chris has had, the last time that they played in Australia was a few years ago, and he played the first 2 and then didn't play the rest of the series. He had a back issue, so it's tough to put something right on it to say that this is the reason why. It comes down to some good planning, no doubt, but also 1 or 2 games here and there over a long period of time. It probably doesn't give you a full picture either. Cheers, guys.